David Austin Rodgers was born to Charles and Margaret Rodgers August 2, 1937, in Cleveland, Ohio. He has two sisters, Sally and Ann. Dave attended Western Reserve Academy in Hudson, Ohio, graduating in 1955. He then attended Williams College in Williamstown, Massachusetts, receiving a bachelor's degree in political science in 1959. During those years, he did basic and advanced training in artillery for the Army Reserve. His fondest childhood memories included kicking around a football and hanging out at Shaker Lake. His parents taught him the core values of hard work and perseverance, and Dave has carried his parents' lessons of valuing hard work throughout his life. Neither of David's marriages lasted a lifetime, but his first marriage to Judy Sheldon brought a son, Charles, and a daughter, Lynn. Lynn lives in New York City, and Charles lives in Pasadena, California, with his children, Katie, age 13, and Andrew, age 9. David travels frequently to visit them, as well as the 4 stepchildren from his second marriage to wife Dorothy. Dave will tell you to this day that the thing that prepared him the most for his career path was learning to work hard and good use of the English language, which was emphasized from an early age. Upon graduation, he went to work for Alcoa as a management trainee. As part of that training, he toured Alcoa facilities to learn about their operations, with one of those operations being in Richmond, Indiana. It's now what's called Silgan. During his stay there, he took an extra day off, which got him in hot water with his superiors. This was his first encounter with Richmond. 46 years later, his return to Richmond worked out a little better. After a series of jobs in the iron ore industry, David returned to Cleveland at a friend's suggestion to work for a small firm selling television programs to stations. David enjoyed the work, but unfortunately, things did not work out, and the company folded. David felt the broadcasting business was a good fit for him, so he went to work for a very well-respected radio station owner in Princeton, New Jersey. After 4 years, he borrowed money from any and all, and with this money, he took over a failing radio station in Salinas, California. Shortly after purchasing his first radio station, he purchased a second radio station located in Lancaster, California. Both stations did well, which allowed him to sell for a profit and return to Bristol, Connecticut, where he purchased another failing radio station. This station did not work out as well, so he sold this station at a loss 7 years later. During his stay in Bristol, the former publicity chief for the Hartford Whalers used the station to start ESPN Sports. David stayed in Bristol, where he worked as a financial consultant for other radio stations, but he yearned to get back into ownership. In 1986, he contacted a gentleman by the name of David Keister out of Martinsville, Indiana. In 1988, he agreed to buy Mr. Keister's radio stations located in Washington Courthouse, Ohio, Connersville, Indiana, and Martinsville, Indiana. David then moved to Martinsville in 1989 to run the 3 operations. In the meantime, Keister purchased Central Broadcasting, located in Richmond, Indiana, which included WFMG, now known as G1013. The FCC changed its rules to allow ownership of stations close to each other. And in 1997, Keister and Rodgers traded their Martinsville and Richmond stations, and Rodgers moved to Richmond. At the same time, David moved his Washington Courthouse, Ohio, closer to Columbus, and sold that station to iHeartMedia, previously known as Clear Channel. In 2000, David purchased the Winchester radio station, known now as WZZY Star 98.3. In 2006, he moved the Connersville FM to Cincinnati and sold it to Radio 1. And in 2007, he purchased the Rushville radio station, known now as WIFE, Hometown Country 94.3.
I met Dave Rodgers, it's been, I'll bet, 25 years ago now. And we were both a part of the Richmond Symphony Orchestra Board of Directors. And Dave was one of the directors who he didn't often say a lot, but when he said something, it was always very meaningful and impactful. And then the more that I got to know Dave, the more that I could understand how he would operate. And a lot of it was behind the scenes. He listened carefully to what people had to say, and then Dave would then contribute in a way that was always a positive way.
I'll say in general, I think that it's difficult to paint a complete picture of the impact that Dave has had on Richmond and Wayne County as a whole. Dave's a very quiet philanthropist. not seeking attention or recognition for any of the gifts that he makes. He's just a really beautiful spirit. When I think of Dave, I think of the consummate philanthropist that I would want to be, one that understands that philanthropy at its core is really just a redistribution of resources to improve the lives of others.
Dave runs his business in a way that he uses the business to help find opportunities to support the community. For Dave, the business, it's not about whether it makes a profit, it's more about what kind of impact can it have on the community. He gives to so many different organizations in the area. He is an active supporter of the arts through the Richmond Symphony Orchestra, and through conservation, he's very active in the Indiana Nature Conservancy. He's active in his church. He's active in the arts in Indianapolis market with the Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra. He supports Earlham College, IU East. He's very active in supporting internship programs. He sponsors internships. And you ask Dave, why internships? And he'll tell you that the reason that he sponsors internships is that if a student has an internship, they're a lot more likely to stay in the community.
His most challenging moment was when his funding source, Chrysler Capital, was told in 1991 by Congress they had to stop funding non-automotive companies. But he was able to figure out new funding paths so he could continue to do the business that he loves. His most exciting time in business has been buying and selling stations, as well as seeing them make an impact on the communities they serve. Dave is very involved in the Wayne County community, and that's one of the things he's most proud of. He has been involved in Boys and Girls Club of Wayne County, including helping them with transportation issues, Cope Environmental Center, the Richmond Parks and Recreation Department, Richmond Symphony Orchestra, Earlham College, IU East, Wayne County Foundation, Economic Development Committee, the Nature Conservancy, Richmond Art Museum, St. Lake's Methodist in Indianapolis, and has sponsored interns throughout Richmond as well as out of state.
It's really important to Dave is to celebrate all that's going on in this community. So we'll see the G1013 truck all over town. There isn't an event that goes by that there isn't a radio presence and a live broadcasting from different areas. It's just the way that he supports a lot of the work of the nonprofits and the events that are going on in town and providing some of that in-kind support.
More than probably anybody else in this community, Dave has done work in this community that has helped change the lives of people in this community, and he's done it in a very quiet way. He's a very humble person. He's probably going to be a little embarrassed that I've mentioned some of the things that he's done for the community. He helped the symphony at a time when the symphony needed some help, and the symphony's now very healthy because of what Dave did. I mean, he's helped across the community. It doesn't matter. His interest is really in the community. He's not doing it for Dave Rodgers. He's not doing it for recognition. He's doing it because he wants this to be a great community for kids, for adults. It doesn't matter your background to Dave Rodgers. He just wants you to have a very good life if you're living in Richmond, Indiana, and Wayne County.
Music, both vocal and instrumental, has been a big part of David's life. He's a life trustee of the Richmond Symphony Orchestra and has been involved in all aspects of their operations. He's also worked with the Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra, helping with their radio broadcasts and Conner Prairie operation. He is involved with his church, St. Luke's Methodist Church in Indianapolis, by teaching classes and singing in the traditional and contemporary choirs. He is a former governing board member and has spent time in Haiti on their behalf, building a medical clinic. When he has a little spare time from all of his community involvement, he enjoys traveling, gardening, and reading. Nature has been important throughout his life. For the last 20 years, David has served the Nature Conservancy as a trustee and life trustee. During those years, he traveled widely as the Nature Conservancy expanded internationally. Those travels have taken him to Brazil, Argentina, Mexico, Chile, along with Costa Rica, Serbia, Australia, and the Kamchatka Peninsula of Russia.
You will find Dave many days hiking in one of the local parks at Cope or at the Mary Grave Bird Sanctuary or around the state. I mean, he loves to hike. When it's weather like we've had recently, you'll find him out at the Richmond Mall hiking, walking, because that's something that he does on a real regular basis. But he loves flowers. He loves to go on the garden tours, and he has quite a collection of flowers and plants himself. So he's a gardener, and he's very interested in pretty much all things nature.
There's a story that I have to tell about Dave. Well, there are a few stories, I guess. One of them that's a little humorous. At Earlham, we were undergoing a lot of construction, and so the campus didn't look as nice as what we thought it might look. And so Dave said, I'll purchase some flower pots for the campus, and so he did a bunch. I mean, it's almost 100 of these pots that are all around campus that Dave purchased. Well, after Dave purchased them, then people wanted to know who purchased the pots around campus. And so then when I would introduce Dave to people on campus, I introduced him as the pot man. Well, then I started to think about that, and I thought, I probably should say the flower pot man instead of just the pot man, because it was almost like, well, what do we mean by the pot man at Earlham? And so people got a kick out of that, the fact that Dave kind of became known as the pot man at Earlham because of the flower pots that he had purchased.
Dave has received the following awards: Wayne County Chamber of Commerce Person of the Year in 2018, the Nature Conservancy Volunteer of the Year in 2008, plus Life Trustee for the Nature Conservancy, Life Trustee for Richmond Symphony Orchestra, and Girls Inc. has named their bus after Dave.
So a year and a half ago, I decided that it was time for Dave to be nominated for the Art Vivian Community Distinguished Leader Award through the Chamber of Commerce. And of course, I had to ask his permission, because I would never do anything that publicly with Dave without asking permission. And he poo-pooed it. He told me that he didn't deserve it. There were other people in the community that deserved it more than he did. And I completely disagreed with him. But in order to get Dave to accept the nomination, there were a few names that he gave me that in the future I would have to nominate so that he would feel as if it was okay for him to receive that award. Probably my favorite memory of Dave was a personal highlight of mine. Dave had an extra ticket and invited me to go see John Williams direct the Indianapolis Symphony. It was quite an experience. When we arrived, I assumed that we'd have decent seats. I didn't believe that we'd have the best seats in the house. So we were actually sitting behind the orchestra and had an opportunity to watch John Williams direct E.T., Star Wars, Jurassic Park. It was an unbelievable experience.
Throughout his time in Richmond, the radio stations have been the center of David's life. He long ago realized that the radio business can be rewarding monetarily as well as enriching the towns they serve. The 5 FM stations and 2 AM stations that make up the Whitewater Broadcasting family of radio stations take pride in working with not only local businesses, but a very large contingent of non-for-profits across the Whitewater Valley. Coats for Kids collects nearly 500 coats each year for children who may not otherwise have a warm coat for the winter. Each year, they collect truckloads of non-perishable foods for the local Salvation Army. The news departments cover nearly all town meetings to keep our community informed. They also broadcast several $1,000s of free public service announcements for the communities they proudly serve.
Well, what I would like to say to Dave is, first of all, there's not anybody that's more deserving of this recognition, and congratulations to you for being inducted into the Junior Achievement Business Hall of Fame. But more importantly, I'd like to say, Dave, thank you so much for everything that you do for Richmond and for East Central Indiana.
Dave hopes that the legacy he leaves behind is one of caring for his employees and the community that he lives in. His second stay in Richmond has been much more rewarding. Junior Achievement is proud to honor one of this year's laureates for their 2019 Business Hall of Fame, Dave Rodgers.